An artificial pancreas for people with type 1 diabetes now available? Let's take a look. Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. Mark Green here, the diabetes diet guy, Marco Verde as my Spanish teacher would call me. He goes by many names, but I'm here to talk all things diabetes and healthy living. Now this is a video about an update that's happened in the last couple of weeks where the guidelines have changed for people with type 1 diabetes and their ability to access technology, namely hybrid closed loop pump systems. So basically autonomous pump systems, which are available now and some of you will be using, but the guidelines has changed to make it easier for people to access this technology. So what has changed? Well, basically NICE, which is an organization that helps to advise healthcare professionals on best practice, has recognized the body of literature that exists that shows it's both cost effective and a good idea to offer hybrid closed loop pump systems to people with a HbA1c over 8% that is, which loosely translates to a HbA1c of 70 millimoles per mole if you're in the UK stats or in the new money. So really, this is a big change because previously people to get on a pump had to jump through a lot of hoops. And it's not to say that that doesn't necessarily still exist, but it does make it a lot easier for people. Of course, it does then punish people that are already managing their diabetes quite well where their HbA1c is below 8%. It doesn't necessarily mean you can't access this technology. You absolutely can. But it does mean that we are starting to we're starting to offer it to people with those higher HbA1cs that could benefit from it. So we're starting to look at the long-term complications, the long-term risks, and actually it's being recognized that technology is much more beneficial in the long-term management of diabetes. It started with flash glucose monitoring and CGMs, continuous glucose monitors, and it's starting to expand into pump therapy and beyond. So this is an exciting time for type 1 diabetes because I suspect in the years to come, actually it's going to be much easier to manage the condition as more and more technology becomes more easily available as it's recognized that it can really help people as it should be. Now, as I say, some of you may already be on the hybrid closed loop systems. So fantastic if you are, but for those that are just on ordinary pumps and for those that are on pen therapy, injectable therapy, subcutaneous insulin injections, let me just explain the difference, okay? So essentially, you know I like a graph if you watch regularly. What happens is for someone that's on an injectable pen, they inject their once daily basal, maybe twice daily for some people, and you'll roughly get the same amount of insulin dripped into your system all day, every day. You can't adjust this dose. Once it's in, it's in. People on regular pump therapy, so open loop systems, can preset their pump to deliver different amounts of insulin at different times of the day based on what they're doing. And then they have options to change between different preset settings. So you might have day 1, day 2, day 3. You might know you're particularly busy on a work day, so you might have workday settings, and you might be less busy at the weekend, so you might have weekend settings. Now, what closed loop allows you to do, or hybrid closed loop in anyway, is you still preset these settings into the pump. So you still preset your basal levels, but then the pump will start to adjust itself based on what your glucose levels are doing. So let's say you have your insulin up here, but it detects that your glucose levels are going to start to drop. And it does this because it's communicating with a continuous glucose sensor like the Dexcom, which can predict which way your glucose levels are traveling. At this point, it will either down-regulate the amount of insulin it's giving you or turn it off entirely for a time being to allow your glucose levels to steady. Alternatively, you might find that your glucose levels start to rise. The pump will recognize this and it will start to up-regulate the insulin it's delivering to accommodate that. Now the usage is usually based on a percentage of what your preset settings are, but there are fully closed loop pumps and technology available, although it's not necessarily available on the NHS's yet. I think it's a bit on the black market kind of thing. People are hacking into them and doing this themselves. This is where it's going to end up most likely with pumps in the future, but it will adjust itself and stop that glucose level from going high. Some pumps even are able to, if it can't quite get on top of it just by adjusting the basal, it will automatically administer a correction dose using a ratio that you've pre-programmed in. So it might say 1 unit drops 2, 1 unit drops 3 millimoles. If you're watching this in the US or you're watching this in Europe, if you want to convert into your if you want to convert into your units, you times 2 or 3 by 18. So anything I ever say with the glucose levels in the UK times by 18, and that gives you the equivalent. So that will drop them. So automatically gives you a correction, and that will drop the glucose levels. So really, all these people have to worry about, generally speaking, is the carb to insulin ratios. And eventually, we won't hopefully even have to worry about that. As that technology becomes available. It does exist, it's just not yet widely available. So really, it can just make the whole management of type 1 diabetes so much easier. So it's really exciting, and more people will be getting access to this technology in the coming weeks, months, and years. So that's great, because it really takes the burden off, it really takes the edge off. Some people struggle to let go because obviously they've been managing their diabetes quite tightly for quite a long time, but I can't really see how this can be a bad thing longer term. So just wanted to give you an update on that. So there you go, updated. I'll see you later. Thanks for watching, guys. If you want more updates like this, then hit the subscribe, like, and notification button. Or if you're considering getting extra help with your diabetes management or lifestyle change, then get in touch. Head to diabetesdietguide.com. We offer consultancy services, and we'd be more than happy to hear from you and see if we can help you. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.